Hi, everybody, and welcome to the newly released Beating Diabetes podcast with Dr. Michele. This year, the podcast will be focusing on all things diabetes. And as your host, I'll be recording solo episodes, which will cover some of the most common questions I'm asked as a physician, such as, what can I eat as a diabetic? How can I lose the extra weight that I've put on recently? Is it really possible to reverse type 2 diabetes? What can I do to prevent my children from getting diabetes since it runs in the family? And more. I will also be coaching patients and clients live on air and conducting interviews with other diabetic experts. I hope you enjoy the show. Today you guys are in for a real big treat. I have one of my success stories coming on to tell us how she beat diabetes, and also we're going to do a little bit of on-air coaching, but this is a true success story, and my guest's name is Tina, and I hope you all really enjoy the show. So can you tell me what are some of the steps that you took to get your A1C down to a 6.1 and to get off of the medications?
I got really sick. That's not funny, but it's funny. I take pain pills for problems that I have with my back and my shoulder, and so the pain pills cause constipation, as you probably know. And I had a really bad case of constipation, which took me several days to get rid of. And I swore at the time that I got rid of it that I'd never take a pain pill again. I'll never say never, but I lost 30 pounds after this constipation thing ended.
Wow.
And I'm not joking. Yeah, I went into the doctor's office and they thought I was going to fall on my feet. They couldn't believe the amount of weight that I lost. And believe you me, when it's nothing to talk about, but when you see what comes out of you, it's unreal. Just unreal. So I've cut the pain medication as much as I can. I had shoulder surgery not too long ago. And for some reason I'm having really bad back problems right now. But I have a friend that has to do with a UTI that I've been carrying around for a long, long time. So, one way, I just took myself off them completely, and I suffered with the pain. And then my doctor told me, don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself, so use them as you need them. And then I started, one at night to go to sleep, and then the morning just to get my day going, only as I needed them, but the nighttime one for sure. Because I don't sleep in a bed, I sleep in a recliner. So I can't lay down to sleep. So.
Wow, that's amazing. So you lost the 30 pounds, and then once you lost the weight, it started changing things in your body in terms of your blood sugar and things like that, right?
Right. Right. From that point, my A1C was up over 8, and literally over time, it got down to 7, in the middle 7s, and then slowly but surely, eating properly and trying to control it, I got it down to the 6.1 or 6.5, something like that. No medication, so that's one plus. I take enough medicine as it is.
So does your doctor have you on a plan to make sure that you don't need to take any medication anymore and that the weight doesn't come back, like an eating plan or anything like that?
Well, every 3 months I go in for the blood work to see where I'm at. And as far as the eating goes, I've let her know. I went to the dietitian and I let her know, when I feel like I really need a blood test, and she'll order it. But since my medical insurance has changed and I have to pay $30 for them to have me pee in a cup or put a needle in me, I won't do it as often. So I don't know. It's just been one thing after the other with us.
Mm-hmm. And when you saw the dietitian, did they talk about, what food you should be eating, or did they kind of just say, well, you lost 30 pounds and leave it up to you?
No, what foods I should be eating and what portions.
Mm-hmm.
They were really not happy with me for losing what I lost, and there was no way I could control it.
Mm-hmm.
It came out of me. I had no idea it was as much as it was. But I mean, they were very unhappy with the flab under my arm, what do you call it, where the muscle is, but it was underneath. And I mean, just right away, they looked at me and saw that skin there hanging, and they said, yeah, you lost weight. Well, okay. And I got on the scale, and then they told me how much, and I was just totally amazed. So.
Now, when you lost the weight and you got your A1C down and you got off of the medications, did any of the other problems that you were having related to the diabetes start to go away, like the numbness in your feet or any of the other things that you had before?
A little bit of the neuropathy, but for some reason, I know how to walk. This is what I told my doctor, the foot doctor. I know how to walk, but I don't feel myself. I don't feel my feet taking the steps. So they wanted me to go to, what do you call it? Like physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, you can watch me walk. I know put one foot in front of the other, but I don't feel my feet stepping down. So it's really weird. I mean, I've fallen going up the stairs and coming down the stairs for that reason. And I can't seem to get a straight answer out of them as to why. That's the only real difference that I've noticed. I mean, sometimes I have the tingling or the sharp burning pain especially in my right foot, but it's not very often.
Have they talked to you about vitamins that you can take for the neuropathy?
Not really. I mean, I'm taking D3. And I think that's all, really. Besides the one I take once a week, but it's not a vitamin, it's a prescribed pill. So no, not really.
Okay, well, that's something that we can definitely talk about. There's some vitamins that have been formulated especially for diabetics, for the neuropathy, and they start to really start rejuvenating some of that sensation that you've lost in the nerves in your feet. And it helps a lot of people, but you do have to take it consistently. And you might not feel the effects of it immediately. So it might take a couple weeks until you start feeling it. But it's a heck of a lot better than having to take, for someone that has the neuropathy with pain, having to take another pain pill or, suffering with that pain. It sounds like you don't have the painful type of neuropathy, but you have the numbness still going on. So I think that's something that we should have you do. Again, it's a vitamin, so it's not going to interact with your other medication, and you don't need a prescription for it. We carry it in the office. So when I see you, I'm going to have you start taking that if that's okay.
Okay.
There's also some creams that were made for the neuropathy. Have you tried those?
No, the one that we were trying was a diabetic gold bond. Both Jack and I use it. So I don't really see a big difference in, it's saying diabetic, but he seems to like it.
Yeah, well, it definitely feels good, but it doesn't have the ingredient in it to help with the neuropathy. So that's another one that's, it's an over-the-counter cream, and it has the ingredients from peppers in it. And so there's a couple different brand names of it, but it's a capsaicin cream, and it actually helps a lot of diabetics when they put it on their feet. So I'm going to give you a sample of that to try as well.
Okay.
And I'm really glad to hear what you said about the dietitian, because a lot of times the doctors will just tell you, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't put sugar in your coffee, but they don't tell you what you can eat. And it sounds like your dietitian is really good.
Yeah, they showed me a plate and portion sizes and then the different foods, like samples of the food, but plastic samples. And yes, you should, no, you shouldn't. And then doing the diabetic class too, they did the same thing, showing you the portion control and what you should have and what you shouldn't have. It's just a matter of being able to keep up with it and wanting to do it,
Yeah. Well, I know that you're very inspired to do it now because you lost all that weight, and you know that it's doable because you saw the results like really quickly.
Right. Right.
That's good. Yeah, it's amazing. Like you were saying, a lot of people don't like to talk about constipation, but it's amazing that constipation can actually cause so many issues in people's bodies. It can cause
I was
headaches.
shocked.
Yeah, it can cause headaches. It can cause you to not be absorbing, your water, and so you feel like you're drinking water, but you're not really, absorbing everything.
See, I
Like
didn't
you,
know that because I drink a lot of water, and I don't feel like I'm drinking water, so I
yeah.
never knew what you just said.
And then, well, I
No.
know a lot of people that get migraines, and it has to do with the fact that they're constipated.
Hmm.
Or
Interesting.
maybe it's not strictly migraines, but other types of headaches as well. So that's
Well,
another
yeah,
thing.
I had a bout with that. I went to a neurologist for that, and never mentioned anything about that either. I mean, the constipation is in my chart now for sure. It's just been something I've been dealing with, but they attribute it to the pain pills. And yeah, maybe they're right, but there's other issues, like you say, that could be causing it too.
Yeah, the pain
So,
pills can definitely get people started in a vicious cycle with that constipation, because you might take the pain pill for, recovery from a surgery or an accident or an injury. But then once it backs you up, you don't really realize sometimes all the damage that it's done over a certain amount of time.
yeah, I mean, I literally couldn't do anything. I was up in my room, I can't lay in the bed, so I had to sit in a chair, and that's very uncomfortable when you're constipated. And I mean, it took a lot out of me over 3 days to finally pass a stool that was, I mean, it amazes me the size of it. We couldn't even flush it down the toilet. That's how bad it was. So,
Yeah, and now that you got everything out that you don't need, sometimes we say that, people are, when they're constipated, like holding on to stuff they don't need. Now that you got rid of everything you don't need and everything seems to be working, you're off of the medication, your A1C is down to normal levels, you're not considered diabetic anymore by your doctor. So you lost all that weight. 30 pounds is amazing. So you must feel so good right now.
well, I except for this UTI that I'm carrying around that I've had for quite some time, you know, and now nothing works for me. I can't take any medicines for it. I just go in and get shots of gentamicin, and eventually that's going to really hurt me and my kidneys. And I've already been having the vicious back pain. So I don't know what my next step is going to be since, like I said, my medical insurance has changed so much. Oh,
Have you seen a urologist for the
oh
chronic?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Have
gone to every
they?
urologist that Kaiser has here. I went to Fontana to see a urologist through Kaiser just for another opinion. And I mean, none of them will help me. I even went to a female, she's a urogynecologist, and they put in what's the name of that thing they put in me? Yeah, E-string or something like that they would put in me every 3 months. And I have to go in to have it taken out and put back in again. And they finally stopped that. But I just feel that the pains from the UTI have come so badly, and I'm the one that hurts, and they just don't understand. And they do the urine sample, and sure enough, it's, an UTI, and they send it for, to the lab for, what do you call it?
The culture?
Yeah, and that comes back positive. So here I go getting the injections of the gentamicin, and they were doing them all in one day, and now they're taking them, like I have to go back 3 or 4 days in a row. So
I had an issue with my bladder for a while, and the doctors were telling me that I was having chronic UTIs back to back to back. And I was on a lot of antibiotics as well. So I can totally relate to what you're talking about. I finally saw a urologist, and I know you've seen several, but I'm wondering if they did this test on you that they did on me, where they put a camera up my urethra to look at my bladder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
twice.
so they did that procedure one time, and the doctor told me, we're either going to see a mass, like bladder cancer, or we're going to see nothing, or we might see an inflammation in your bladder lining. And if we see that, it has a name. It's called interstitial cystitis. It's kind of like an autoimmune disease that attacks your bladder. And so people can relate to that. It's like when you have gastritis in your stomach lining, and so your stomach lining is inflamed. And when you eat certain foods, you get a flare up and you get pain and all these different symptoms. Well, it's a very similar thing that happens in your bladder. And when you drink certain things or eat certain foods, it can cause it to react, and it feels like you have a bladder infection. And so I said to the doctor, well, they always do these, urine tests on me, and they always say, yeah, you have a bladder infection. And he said, well, what I see in the camera is that you have this irritation in your bladder lining, and that's probably what you've had this whole time. And I said, okay, what do we do to treat that? And he said, it's basically through diet, which means this is a list of all the things you need to avoid for, let's say, 3 months. The main ones being caffeine, alcohol, and sugary drinks like sodas or like apple juice, really sweet juices, and just drink mostly water for now. And there were some other things, to avoid eating, but the main thing was about drinking, since we're talking about the bladder, was about avoiding these different types of drinks. And it worked. And I didn't get bladder infections anymore. And so it's what I think was happening is the bladder irritation that I was having. Once it got inflamed, then it's very susceptible to getting an infection. And so then it would just keep getting infections because it was already inflamed. And so once I got rid of the inflammation, I stopped getting the bladder infections. And that could be what's going on.
It's possible. I mean, yeah, I had the camera put in over here in Bowen Park, and then again in Fontana. So I'm tired of having to travel to Fontana, especially in the traffic and stuff, for the second opinion, when I feel it should be able to be done over here in Bowen Park or another area that's closer. But I don't know. I'm just so frustrated. I really and truly want to just give up. And I know I shouldn't do that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating. But I'm going to give you some information on that bladder condition because,
okay.
I mean, obviously you're not drinking sugary drinks because of the diabetes.
No, we haven't had sodas here or any kind of juices or anything. We both just drink water now.
What about caffeine? Do you have coffee?
I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and that's not every day. It's some days. Then I find if I don't have that cup, at least I can end up getting a headache. So. Yeah,
the caffeine headache. I know.
Yeah.
That's very common. Okay, so I'm going to...
Well, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
I know. I'm going to send you the information on the bladder stuff because it's something to look at and, to talk to your urologist about. Because like I said, that's what happened with me. And I just thought I was just going to get bladder infections forever because I just kept getting them. And then all of a sudden we did that. And with the diet changes, it went away. So I'm going to send you that. And another funny thing I was going to mention to you when you were talking about the constipation is the reason I even started looking into different like alternative medicine and holistic medicine is because I was suffering with constipation too for a long time. And I went to my doctor at Kaiser and I told him, I had switched doctors. I got a new doctor and I told him, it's like 2 or 3 days at a time before I can go to the bathroom. And I know it's not normal. And I'm eating all the things that they tell you you're supposed to eat and avoiding things that are supposed to clog you up. And I'm still, suffering with this. So he wrote me a prescription for a laxative that's like similar to something you would buy over the counter, but just stronger. And he told me, just take this every 3 days if you haven't gone to the bathroom. That was his answer. I said, I could do that now.
I hate answers like that.
I know. I said, that's what I've been doing on my own with over-the-counter products. And he said, well, this is stronger. And I said, well, I don't want to take a laxative every 2 to 3 days. That's not an answer.
Yeah.
And so I stopped seeing him, and I started looking into, diet changes and things like that. And so I found some herbs, and I pretty much got rid of it that way. But it's interesting because that was my main complaint too. Like, you were talking about in the beginning, people don't realize unless they've suffered with it, how much it can affect your life. It just makes you feel
Exactly. Yeah.
lethargic. You can't really move. You feel like
Talk
so
about
heavy.
the way I felt. We went to Dodger Stadium for a game, and we took the kids, Destiny and Ariel, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad. Okay, I waited until they shut down Dodger Stadium, went in the bathroom, and Jack had to come in the bathroom and help me. This is how bad it was. I mean, it was unbelievable. And those people, I mean, they just had to wait to close the stadium down because I couldn't come out of the bathroom. So, and that's embarrassing, but it's reality. So.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a lot of people that are suffering with things like this. So I think it's good for us to talk about these things, because it's one of those things, like you were saying, like no one likes to talk about this, but we have to talk about it from time to time, because this is the stuff that's going on. And I mean, I had a friend.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah. I had a friend who is also into yoga and teaching it. And she said that when she was a little girl, she was constipated all the time and was always having headaches. And she didn't realize until she was an adult and studied about this type of medicine that that's what her headaches was from the constipation. So
I might be able to attribute some of mine to that too.
Yeah.
I haven't had a really bad case anymore for quite some time now. I know that I have to eat the roughage, and I have to try to have salad at least every day or every other day. And I know that's a plus. But as far as the medicine, I really don't have to take anything for it now. I just know how to get it out of me my way.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy to hear that you're doing so much better with your diabetes and that you lost all that weight. And, it's just really great to hear. And I think it's inspiring too for other people that might be listening that, something so simple as, getting off of those pain pills and then getting rid of that constipation caused you to lose weight, that brought your sugar down, and now you don't have to take a medication for your diabetes.
Right.
That's a huge deal.
I agree.
It's a huge deal, and I hope you're like really proud of yourself for coming up.
Well, I am. I mean, it made me feel really good to be able to walk into the doctor's office and have her tell me that. I mean, I knew I had lost the weight. But, slowly but surely I'm picking up weight again, and I don't want to do that, but it's happening. So I have to really sit myself down and try to talk to myself. And sitting in a chair all day doing nothing is not helping me either. I have to get up and do something, but my knees are so bad, and my hips, my back. So how do you make ends meet? I mean, pain is pain. So I don't know. We were going to walk yesterday, and I felt so bad we couldn't even go walk.
Yeah, and there's definitely different vitamins and things you can try for the pain in the knee too. Have you tried that?
Well, like glucosamine and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
No, I have tried that, but I think the pain is because I took a fall, and I can't really balance myself that great anymore. So I fell on my knee, and it just hasn't healed. I didn't go in and have it x-rayed or anything. So I have a feeling the pain in my knee is just from that, and then picking up a little bit more weight now is actually bothering me to have to stand up. So, my phrase again here, damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Well, how long ago was the fall?
It's been about a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay, so it's still healing.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some things you can do for the knee pain when it's in that healing stage that doesn't involve pain pills. There's some different topical medications that are just as strong as the pain pills, but you don't have to take them by mouth. And so that's another thing that I'm going to recommend for you.
Okay.
I'm writing all this down so I have it ready for you.
It's okay.
Yeah. So that pain gel that I was just referring to, that in a combination with certain vitamins could help.
All right. There is a pain gel that the physical medicine doctor had made for me that I was using on my shoulder and my hips that had to be compounded, to get, and it took a while to get it. But I mean, that stuff is strong, odor-wise, and when you put it on, it worked. Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be cheap to get anymore. So.
But also, you've come really far, and I'm really glad that you see that. But at the same time, don't beat yourself up for not being able to do as much right now because you're healing from an injury, for one.
Right.
And for two, you don't need to make huge steps in that direction at once in terms of movement. So you can start with, just a couple minutes a day of any type of exercise that you like to do. And if you can't stand on your knee, you can do like, I don't know if you have one of those little bikes, like a stationary bike or...
No. The ortho doctor had mentioned, the one that stands by itself, to get one of those and just paddle sitting down, but we never really went and invested in one.
Yeah, so there's something like that. You can also do different types of stretches and like yoga moves just in your chair. There's some different things that I can show you how to do from your chair that can get you moving. And also if you have really light weights, for your hands, you can start moving your arms and doing those types of weights as long as it's not going to hurt your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. So just aiming in the beginning, just aim for 5 minutes a day of any kind of exercise. And then we'll talk about the different things that you can do right now while your knee is healing.
Okay. All right.
You still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought I lost you for a second. Okay,
no,
so
I'm here.
So I have these notes written down, and so when you get a chance, I want to have you come into the office, and then I'm going to get you the vitamins and the creams that we talked about, and we'll get all that stuff together for you so we can start getting you even farther down the road.
Do you want me to call you and make an appointment, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I
think I have your office number.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
I'm sorry.
From the last time we've talked until now, you've made so much progress. I'm really happy to hear how far you've
gone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Today's show was brought to you by my coaching program, Beating Diabetes, the 10-Week Roadmap. For more information, head on over to my website, drmichele.com, and click on the Work With Me tab. All of the information is there about my group programs as well as one-on-one coaching. If you have questions about diabetes that you would like me to answer on air, you can email them to me. Just go to my website, drmichele.com/contact, to email your questions. And if you have questions you'd like to discuss with me over the phone, sign up for a free 20-minute coaching call at drmichele.com/schedule.